Recently, Cardinal Burke issued a statement about denying communion to pro-abortion politicians. This is what a lot of us have been saying for a while. It's no surprise Cardinal Burke is one of the good guys. No surprise that he would issue a statement like this, but he had a lot of strong language. I'm going to read you some of the quotes. He says, "The reception of Holy Communion by those who publicly and obstinately violate the moral law in its most fundamental precepts is in a particularly grave form of sacrilege." Canon 915 of the Code of Canon Law, which repeats the perennial and unchanging teaching of the Church, provides, "Those who have been excommunicated or interdicted after the imposition of declaration of the penalty, and others obstinately persevering in grave sin, are not to be admitted to Holy Communion. The denial of Holy Communion is not an ecclesiastical penalty, but the recognition of an objectively unworthy state of a person to approach to receive Holy Communion. Clearly, no priest or bishop can grant permission to a person who is in public and obstinate sin, grave sin, to receive Holy Communion. It is sometimes said that the denial of Holy Communion to politicians who obstinately persevere in grave sin is the use of Holy Communion by the Church for political purposes. On the contrary, it is the Church's solemn responsibility to safeguard the holiness of the Holy Eucharist, to prevent the faithful from committing sacrilege, and to prevent scandal among the faithful and other persons of good will." So here he's starting to get more and more into the bulk of what he's trying to say. Basically, it's good to deny communion to those who are in public state of sin. So if someone has like a marriage, if they're divorced and remarried publicly, like a public figure, and everyone knows it's on the records that these people are divorced and remarried, you can deny them communion. If someone is in an LMNOP marriage, or if someone, a politician, publicly supports abortion, that's on public record, and they should not present themselves for Holy Communion, and the pastors should deny them Holy Communion. I agree with Cardinal Burke. Awesome so far. He says, "It is rather the Catholic politician who publicly and obstinately promotes what is contrary to the moral law and yet dares to receive sacrilegiously Holy Communion, who uses the Holy Eucharist for political purposes. In other words, the politician presents himself or herself as a devout Catholic while the truth is completely otherwise." And here's where it gets good. He says, "Those who publicly and obstinately violate the moral law are, at least in a state of apostasy, that is, they have effectively abandoned the faith by the obstinate refusal in practice to live in accord with the fundamental truths of faith and morals, Canon 751. An apostate from the faith incurs automatically the penalty of excommunication, Canon 1364. A bishop of such a person must verify the conditions for the declaration of the penalty of excommunication, which has been automatically incurred." So he's saying that any politician who supports abortion is an apostate, and the bishop should excommunicate them. That's awesome. I love this statement by Cardinal Burke, because this is what we all want to see. He also says, "They may also be in heresy if they obstinately deny or doubt the truth about the intrinsic evil of abortion as it is to be believed by divine and Catholic faith. Heresy, like apostasy, incurs automatically the penalty of excommunication." This was Canon 1364. "Also, in the case of heresy, the bishop must verify the conditions for the declaration of a penalty of excommunication, which has been automatically incurred." So he's saying that these people are heretics and apostates, and they should not present themselves for Holy Communion, and furthermore, they should be excommunicated by their bishops. So, I would like to see any bishop excommunicate any pro-abortion politician. Most of us would completely support it. The ones who wouldn't, I don't really know what to say. I'd like to see Bishop Strickland, or one of the good bishops, excommunicate any politician who claims to be Catholic and supports abortion. Now, unfortunately, we have Archbishop Wilton Gregory and the McCarrick squad of Subich, Tobin, McElroy. They're not really running the show in the United States, but for all intents and purposes, they kind of control what goes on. They won't let things get too far towards Catholicism because they're going to have the Vatican intervene. But this is part of the Catholic faith. You cannot vote for a pro-abortion candidate. You gotta support pro-life. Politicians, on the other hand, I think that a lot of these pro-abortion politicians that call themselves Catholic, I think they're really just cultural Catholics. They were raised Catholic, but maybe they had very poor faith formation. Maybe they just ignored it. I don't know, but it's very obvious. Abortion is murder. Very obvious. Cardinal Burke really brings the strong wording here. I encourage you to read the full letter. This is great. I hope to see more statements like this from Cardinal Burke. He's doing great work, and he's one of the Catholic heroes that we have in our day. So thanks for watching. Check out Cardinal Burke's letter, and don't vote for a pro-abortion politician.